You are now tuned into the sounds of Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
As always, thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell, Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode number 367. Yes, damn, that's a lot of episodes. Shout out to AJ for helping me count the amount of episodes we've done so far on the channel. Before we get to it really quick, I know it's been a while since you last saw me. It was like almost like 2 weeks ago. A lot of things have happened. So be tuning in for this week as we're now post Super Bowl and almost towards the end of college basketball, painfully, and get ready for the off season. So please like, comment, and subscribe. But in this episode, as you see in the title, I have a very special guest. University of Maryland's finest, Faith Masonius. Faith, good afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you for joining me on this episode. Thank you for taking out some time. I hope you're having a great day so far.
Thank you. I am. You too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Graduate forward, Faith Masonius, University of Maryland women's basketball, Maryland Terrapins. Faith, just, when you look at your 5-year career at the University of Maryland, because we're going to get a little bit into it later, but just when you look at your career so far, what are you most proud of?
It's been a long career, like you said, going on 5 years. I think when I reflect back and just think about when I was a freshman, I think what I'm most proud of is just how much I've grown as a person and a basketball player. I come from a small town, New Jersey, so moving away from my family, such a big family my whole life, and then coming to College Park, it's just crazy to see the progress I've made as a person.
You mentioned you're from Jersey. Just where did your love of basketball come from?
I think just growing up in the gym. My mom played basketball in college and then was a basketball coach, and from as far as I can remember, I was just always in the gym at my mom's practices and on the sidelines trying to dribble a little basketball when I was, 2, 3. I couldn't even get the ball in the air, but I think it really just stemmed from that.
And then what would you say your I made it moment?
Gosh, I think it was during AAU and maybe when my first years of high school, I was like getting recruited and then coaches started reaching out and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can really do this. I can go to school and play basketball. So I think just when the recruitment process started for me, I'm like, dang, like I made it. I'm here.
For sure. When you look at recruiting, I think when you came in, recruiting was a little different compared to it is now. Yeah. Just talk about that process, because I feel like recruiting is somewhat misconstrued. Just like, how was your recruiting process?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, so it's definitely a lot different now. NIL wasn't in the picture, and there's so many more things that schools are able to offer athletes now. But I think at the time of my recruitment process, my mom always tried to tell me, find things you like in schools, find things that you want, things you don't want. For me, I wanted to stay closer to home, but be far enough away that I couldn't get, little pop-up visits. So I think there's just like making pros and cons lists was something that was really important. And my parents always taught me like, you have to be able to love the school, love your surroundings, love the people, because who knows what could happen. Maybe sports could be taken away from you. So you have to be somewhere where you love. And I think that was a huge piece of why I want to come to Maryland, right by DC. I was just in DC yesterday, so I'm able to go to a nice city.
For sure.
Great academics here, great basketball programs. There's so many things that went into, this is why I want to go to this school. But like I said, NIL wasn't a part of it. So, you're not being presented with these huge deals that it's, money kind of forward. Like this is why you should come to our school. It was more about like the interactions, the connections, the people, the program. So I think that was a big thing when I was being recruited.
Was there any other schools outside of Maryland you were considering?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember. I think my top 3 at the time was Maryland, Virginia, and Wake Forest. I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, honestly, I don't even remember. Like, it's so crazy.
And then when you picked Maryland, what was the conversation with Coach Freeze?
Oh gosh, I remember the day that I committed. I think it was January like 22nd of my maybe junior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had called her and they were just about to play a game and I'm like, Coach B, I remember my mom got it on video, but my mom, it was funny. It was just like a little FaceTime call, nothing too crazy, but I remember calling to feel like I've been thinking about it and I would love to be a Terrapin. So, and then she went crazy. It was really exciting. My mom bought me a cake and everything. So it was fun.
And then, obviously being from Jersey, just, I think representing New Jersey basketball, like what does that mean for you?
Yeah, I mean, Jersey's a small place. But I think considering how small it is, a lot of great basketball players come out of the state. The conference that I was in high school, a short conference, a lot of great players end up going D1. So I think it's just awesome to see all these people that I've grown up playing with going to all these schools, and even playing in college now, I go back and we're playing these people that I used to play in high school or growing up. So it's just awesome to be able to represent Jersey and just be a part of one of many people to come out of the Great Shore Conference or even the state of New Jersey.
For sure. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Playing basketball in high school, middle school, even AU, Jersey. Who was the one player that you're going, nah, I'm getting buckets on my opponent today?
It's funny because I didn't know the question was going to go that way, but I think I don't know about looking at them and be like, oh, I'm going to drop 30, I'm going to get buckets. But I think the one person who, whenever we play against, I'm like, oh, we got to win this one, is Diamond Miller. Obviously, she ended up being my teammate in college. So every time we played them, it was a great game. We went to the Tournament of Champions, I think it was 2 years in a row. And the first year, Diamond's team got the win. The second year, my team got the win. So, we're even.
I like that. And then kind of fast forwarding, Maryland, you got affected by the pandemic in terms of you couldn't play that year. Mm-hmm. Just what was that like, kind of coming out of the pandemic and like, okay, what does college basketball for you look like? What was that for you?
I mean, it's crazy because it happened my freshman year. We got through the entire season and then we hear about this, this thing that was happening in COVID, and we were all like, this isn't going to affect us. And then comes March and we're practicing, and it was kind of a weird day. Our practice was running really long. Our head coach went missing somehow. And then at the end, our athletic director comes in and is like, we have a team meeting in the lounge. And then they tell us the season's over. You're not going to the NCAA tournament. You have to go home. We don't know how long it's going to be. We don't know when you're coming back. So pack a lot of clothes.
Damn.
Yeah, like it was so in the split of a moment, like my mom prepared me for, sports will be taken away from you one day. So you got to love where you're at. But coming back, I'm a sophomore now. Everything was different. We were kind of placed in this bubble. We had to get COVID tested every single day. We had to wear masks. Oh my gosh, masks in practice were not fun. That was
I
definitely a
most
challenge.
definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and then I mean, things didn't really go back to normal until 2 years later when we didn't have to get tested anymore. We weren't in the bubble for the NCAA tournament. It's just, I feel like college basketball and obviously the world has changed completely since then.
For sure. For sure. I definitely agree with that. I actually kind of remember around that time too. It's still kind of, weird, like it just like, damn,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
like nothing, like just like the world just came to a complete stop.
Yeah.
So still kind of somewhat surreal.
Hmm.
Um, you're kind of want to just backtrack just a little bit. Your the transition from high school into college, what does that transition look like?
Cool. Well, I mean, you're going from high school to college. It's a completely different level basketball wise, and I think the one thing that was a big transition within basketball was kind of the pace. People always used to say, like in my AU coaches or my high school coaches, the pace in college is so much faster. You have to go faster, quicker. But I think one of the one things that I learned in college was it's not about going faster. It's about having, the pace and the rhythm and being able to just get up and down. But I think one of the biggest things I had to learn coming into college was to slow myself down because I was always
Mhm.
taught you have to go faster, you have to go faster. But, I needed to slow down.
For
But
sure.
I think going into college, I had to find my role as a freshman. I mean, I'm not a senior anymore. I'm the newbie, I'm the new face. I kind of had to find my role within a team full of my freshman year, it was like 6 All-Americans on the team. It was crazy. So
Most
I had to find something that nobody did to get me onto the
right.
court. So that was definitely a huge step for me because, coming out of high school, I was the scorer. I was, the go-to person. Then freshman year, I'm like, what am I doing? So I started doing all the little things and rebounding and defense and all that stuff. So just finding my role within the team was definitely one of the biggest transitions for me.
When you say finding your role, like, does that like include conversations with Coach Freeze and like, hey coach, like, what am I not doing right? What am I doing? What can I do to, kind of be more involved?
Yeah, I think so. I think some people sometimes ask the wrong questions when it comes to, finding your role as a player. And I think a lot of times people are asking, like, why am I not getting minutes? Why am I not playing? Like, I deserve those minutes. I think the questions you need to be asking is, like, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do to get on the floor? What do you need me to do? Like, and I think consistency is the biggest aspect in that, and kind of just waiting out the process. I know it's hard to do, and a lot of people, if at first nothing's going on for them, then they'll just jump ship and go. But I think it's really about trusting the process and like gaining that trust. I mean, like I said, you're a new person on the team. Those coaches don't have that trust in you yet. So you have
Mhm.
to be able to gain that trust and just continue to work and trust the process.
No, for sure, for sure. And that kind of leads me into my next point. Bree McDaniel.
Hmm.
You've seen we've all seen her growth, and especially from her class. She's the only one from last year that's still with the team.
Hmm.
How did you, in a way, because most we all consider you the mother of the team.
Yeah.
Like, what was, did she come to you for advice and just saying, what can I do to get a bigger role for the team?
Yeah, I mean, Bree, her process and her progress from last year to this year has been like one of the greatest steps I've ever seen. I think last year it is hard to get, accommodated and into the role of things when you get into college. So I think for her, she needed a little time to get to where she is now. And her progress was insane. She worked her butt off to get where she is now, and she's a prime example of trusting the process and just believing in the system and her coaches and our program. But I think with Bree, we have a very like special relationship when it comes to basketball. Sometimes it's hard to get through those things. It's hard to get through like a year where you're not performing the way you want to perform or getting the opportunities you want. So it's nice to have someone that you can lean on who also went through the same thing. So like Brie would come to me, be like, what do I need to do? Like, like what are the steps? And I'm like, look, you got to find something that is going to make you get onto the floor. And I think just giving consistent, energy and effort is one thing that you can control. It's always I feel like one of the biggest pieces of advice is like control the things you can control. So with her, I mean, her energy and just you can feel it when you're on the court and playing with her and everything. Like she's going to go 100% every single time. And that's one thing no one can take away from her. So I think she definitely used that to her advantage and is just continuing to roll with it. And she's going to have so much success with that in the future. And as she is now.
For sure. And then speaking of, the freshmen this year, you have Mary and Zen that will walk on, Emma, Summer, Hawa, all freshmen. Just like what have they been like so far this season?
Yeah.
Riley's out for the season, obviously.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yes.
With injuries, it's hard. You can't predict that, and it just really stinks. But coming in freshman year, I mean, it's funny because I look back and I've talked to them so many times, and I'm like, look, freshman year is very hard because sometimes you're on a very tight leash. I mean, it goes back to having that trust. You're the new players. But I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I have given to them is our practices are like games to them. So they need to perform in practice to continue to gain that trust and then take every opportunity that they have in the game and just work hard. I mean, I think for them, they come in every day and they're ready to work. In practice, they're always looking for advice and they're always open to hearing, constructive criticism or what can I do to be better. So I think that's something that's really important and is a good sign when it comes to freshmen. I think they all lean on each other and stay positive and just are continuing to put their heads down and work. I mean, some of us may have off days, but they're in the gym getting extra workouts in, doing extra conditioning. So when their time is like coming, they're ready to perform. And I think even like with Riley, like it's upsetting and it stinks that injuries are a thing. But when one person goes down, the next has to step up. And
for sure,
I
definitely agree with that. And kind of the transition into that, you yourself, experienced an injury. I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, torn ACL.
Yes.
What was that? The recovery. Just what was that like?
That was definitely a process. I mean, I always thought, I'm invincible to this. I'm not going to tear my ACL. My legs are strong. I work out all the time, but that wasn't the case. I mean, one wrong tweak and you can have a season-ending injury, which happened to me. So it's definitely a process. And I think I've known people who have torn their ACLs, but I never truly understood what went into the process of coming back. And it's almost a year-long injury and recovery. So it's definitely a lot mentally and physically. And I'm very happy that I was able to get over that hump with like the amazing doctors, trainers, PTs that we have here in Maryland. I'm very grateful that we have those, resources. But it was definitely a challenge for me. Coming back was probably the hardest part and playing again, but it was a tough process, but I'm happy I got through it.
You mentioned the doctors and stuff, but what about, for the mental, spiritual side of it?
Yeah, I mean, we have so many resources here. We have, psychiatrists, therapists, even being able to talk to my coaches, I think was one of the biggest pieces. There was plenty of times where I went into some of my coaches' office, tears running down my eyes. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's so hard. Like, I don't know how I'm going to come back. But they just told me take it day by day and listen to your body. And I think that was really important. But I also had so many teammates who have gone through injuries. I mean, like one of my best friends, Chloe Bibby, who I played with a few years ago. Yeah, she had torn her ACL. So just having her there, like giving me little tips everywhere. And she used to rub my knee for me all the time. And even having Cheyenne, like she drove me around everywhere, got me food when I couldn't walk, rolled me on a little wheelchair. So having those people around me helped so much.
I like that. And it's interesting enough. Ali Kubek last year, ironic, the same injury.
Yeah.
Just has she ever come to you about, how did you get through your recovery of the torn ACL?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually Allie's second torn ACL. She tore her ACL back in high school, I believe. I think it was her senior year or junior year of high school. So she had gone through this process before, but she said when she did it in college last year, she didn't remember how much of a process this was. And I think, she leaned on me sometimes for advice or like even I know sometimes it's hard for her to, go to people and like ask for help. So I would always offer or, just be in her ear, like, you got this, like, just get through it, just get through today. Tomorrow's going to be better.
For sure.
But yeah, we definitely lean on each other. And even with Emma,
Yes.
Riley,
Mm-hmm.
we all give each other a little piece of advice or encouragement, and just feel like, you got this. Or even like with Riley, like, she's about to get her knee bent. She had surgery, and I'm like, you just got to play music, breathe through it. You got this, like, being
Definitely.
there. Yeah.
Definitely. Try not to think about it.
Yeah.
That's the most important
You
thing for
can't
sure.
think about it. You just got to let it happen.
Exactly. And you mentioned Cheyenne. You and Cheyenne are like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Just what has she meant to you as a friend and more as also as a teammate?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was my freshman year when Cheyenne came on an unofficial visit. We show the recruits around our apartments and all this and all that. And I've done it a few times at the time. But when Cheyenne got here, right away, she talks. She's a talker. So right right when she came into my apartment with her parents and all the coaches, we just got to talking, and we ended up sitting there for like 45 minutes and just chatting. And I was like, I'm going to be real with you. Like, this is how it is here. This is what it's like. And this is, what you'll get out of this experience. And I think ever since then, like, we had just stayed connected, talking on the phone. We'd FaceTime every once in a while. So we kind of like got that relationship early. So by the time she got here, I'm like, we're already friends. So this is going to be an easy transition. But I think just kind of like taking her under my wing a little bit, showing her around, showing her what it's like. And then ever since then, we've just been best friends. And I mean, her process as a basketball player has definitely grown a lot too. But as a person, she's more chatty now. She's outgoing. She's changed a lot, and it's just been great to have her and have such a good friend and roommate now.
A lot of us, I will say, others in the media, not me speaking, but a lot of people wanted Shy to now take that leap forward, once Diamond and Abby painfully left us last season.
Yeah.
Just what the growth have you seen from her last year going into this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had some big shoes to fill. Everybody had to be a part of that. And I think Cheyenne, a lot of that was kind of put on her shoulders, and it is a lot of pressure. But I think for her being, the basketball player she is, she's not only a scorer, but she facilitates, she rebounds, she just does the little things. So I think her mindset was, yes, I have to be better. I got to do all these things better. But to stay within herself, I know, like, even me and her have had a lot of conversations. She's like, it's a lot of pressure. People need me to do this and do that. And I'm like, Cheyenne, you are who you are. Just be better at every little category. So I think
she's just fine, in my opinion. Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. She's doing just fine, and she just has to be the best version of herself.
Like all you need is faith and patience.
Exactly.
Period. So, and then you yourself, like, what were some of the things that you wanted to work on from last year coming into this year?
Yeah, I mean, last year was definitely a very up and down season for me with coming back, because last year was my first year back after tearing my ACL. So I truly had no expectations for myself last year. I'm like, look, just get up and down the court, enjoy your time. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I think this year, what I wanted to work on, I think, was more just being consistent and just trying to be a better leader, better communicator, because for me, it's really important that everyone is always on the same page. And I'm that kind of person that you can lean towards and look to if you need advice, or on the court or off the court, be there for you. So I think for me as a, person basketball player was to be a better leader, but obviously, like, on the court, just doing the little things, trying to rebound a little more, score a little more to help my teammates. I mean, like I said, we had some big shoes to fill, so everyone had to step up a little piece and a little bit. So just doing whatever my team needed me to do.
I like that. And then, the Coach Freeze, what has she meant to you as a player?
Yeah, I mean, she has a lot of energy. You can see her on the sidelines. She's always so engaged and just giving everyone energy. So I think just seeing her as, a role model and a mentor, one day I want to be in the shoes that she's in and be able to run a successful program. So just being able to see everything that she does behind the scenes that nobody really sees is definitely going to help me, hopefully, to be a great coach one day. There's so much that goes into being a coach. It's not just, the X's and O's. It's recruiting, traveling, flights, meeting people, all this and all that. So it's just, there's so much that goes into it, and being able to see her and have a family and, just be so successful and be a great person at the same time is just awesome to see.
For sure. For sure. I definitely agree with that. And then, just kind of looking, last year was your first Elite Eight appearance at March Madness. What was that experience like for you?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing because my sophomore, because freshman year we couldn't have the NCAA tournament. So my sophomore, junior year, we made it to the Sweet 16, which was awesome because, we're one of 16 teams. But I think last year was kind of just like a cherry on top. I remember, I forget who we played, but I looked at Coach B after the game and I'm like, we're making it past the Sweet 16 this year. Like, we need to. We can't be stuck there anymore. So
Notre Dame.
It was Notre Dame. Yes. It was just an amazing thing. Obviously we played South Carolina and we didn't win, but I think we definitely gave them a run for their money, and it really just showed that, we can overcome a lot. We had lost a lot of people, and people didn't really have high expectations for us last year, and I think we definitely proved people wrong by making it to Elite Eight, and I'm going to have that memory forever and have that title forever. So it's really exciting that we were able to leave that legacy.
For sure. For sure. And then, recently there was a deal with the NCAA with women's basketball where there's a little bit more TV time and also the ability to tell more stories from the women's side of basketball. Mm-hmm. When you hear stuff like that, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it makes me really excited seeing that women's basketball is getting the coverage and the platform that we deserve. I think women's basketball is truly insane. I think more so this year than ever. There's upsets left and right. Teams are so competitive. I mean, in the Big Ten, you see everybody's beating everybody. There's no just one top dog anymore. It's you don't know what you're going to get day in and day out. So I think it's really exciting, and it's really good for the women's game, and just being able to broadcast women's sports and, women's female athletes and just leaders is definitely awesome. And it's really exciting to see what's going to happen in the future with all that.
For sure. And then to add on to that, NIL, when you first, found out that, you were going to get, sponsors and different things like that. How did you feel about that?
I mean, I was definitely excited to see, where it could take me, having, social media be such a big part of our lives, and being able to use that as athletes to kind of create your own brand and put yourself out there and just use it for your own, profit or name or brand is definitely an awesome thing. But I think in the beginning, it was so new and nobody really knew the ropes around it, or everyone was trying to figure it out and was like, how can we truly use this thing? So I think it didn't really happen until, a year after that got passed. It was like, oh, I can do all these different things with this. And I think you see a lot of female athletes that are making the most money or being able to create the biggest brand out there. It's awesome, and it's a great tool. And I think there's going to be even more steps to that moving forward in the future.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I personally, I like NIL. I do think it is, it does. It's a tad dangerous. I'm just going to leave it at that.
It's scary. It is a scary little thing out there.
But, even without NIL, I still think it's great for, college athletes to be rewarded for what they're doing. And it also gets them exposed to, if they want to get into any league, Nike, Gatorade, Adidas, different things like that. So I'm not mad at it. I like it.
I mean, I think it's even like, as an athlete going through it, you have to, like, work with people, sign contracts. Like you're running your own business, basically, essentially. Like, you have to go to meetings, be on time, fill briefs, go onto Zoom calls with, like, different companies. And you have to also, like, stand up for yourself. I think that's one thing that NIL has told me, like, this is how much you are valued, and kind of sticking up for myself. Because before I would have been like, oh, okay, that's fine. Now I'm like, this is me. This is what I want. This is what I need. So it's definitely really good.
I like that. Now, if Faith wasn't playing basketball, what would Faith be doing?
Oh my gosh. I think I would definitely want to still be in college. But I think one thing that I always love to do is coaching. I mean, my mom runs the AU program, the New Jersey, I always say Rise, the New Jersey Rise. It used to be Bells, now it's the Rise.
Guys. Okay.
But she runs the entire New Jersey, whatever, the New Jersey Rise program. So I think, honestly, I would have probably taken on a team and gotten some exposure coaching, because that's something, I'd love to do, is just like empower young women, get women into sports, and hopefully get everybody college scholarships. So
For
definitely, I think
sure.
coaching.
Now, with when you look at the WNBA, was there any player that you gravitated your game to growing up and saying like, "Oh, that's the player I want to be like"?
What's crazy is I truly never watched growing up, and I think part of that was because there wasn't much exposure to the W. So I think just now I watch it all the time, and I'm just looking at all these athletes, and I'm like, it's crazy because the W is so big now and is getting more
Mhm.
exposure. But like, I didn't have those type of role models growing up. So that's why I think it's so important, again, back to women's broadcasting and getting all these, TV deals and all these women, because now younger women, younger girls like myself can look up to these players and, look at them and be like, I want to do that. So I
Is
don't
there
have a
anyone currently
specific.
that you say you look that you go like, that's how I look upon myself, look up to?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like a Brianna Stewart, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, just like the leaders. And I'm like, wow, like I, they were me when I was, younger and in college, but obviously they're just elite and the goats. But I think it's really cool. I grew up around the Mabrys, like closest family friends. Jara's one of my best friends, and Marina Mabry
Okay,
plays in W. So it's really awesome to see her play, and I definitely love, seeing how awesome she's doing and just all the success that she's having. So it's
for sure.
definitely cool watching her play.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, you're famous. You got all the connections.
It's New Jersey basketball, I'm telling you.
Oh man, and you know, I guess I should have asked this earlier, and I do apologize.
It's all
With
right.
AAU sports, how has the impactfulness changed? Where it's helping players grow, or is it not helping players grow from your perspective?
See, I think the really important thing about AAU basketball is that's what's getting you the exposure to colleges and to different schools, because they put on these different events every year. They just keep getting bigger and bigger, where college coaches come in and they're just basically sitting in the gym watching games all day for hours upon hours. So
Mhm.
I think it is really important for girls to continue to play AAU. And even outside college sports, when you play AAU, you're playing with so many different people. Like on my AAU team, we had people from all over the country. Like I
Mm.
had one of my teammates used to have to travel 10 hours to come to AAU practices on the weekends.
That's
So
ridiculous.
it is ridiculous, but at the end of the day, she plays at UConn now. So it's players that come together and you have all these connections and you're playing with all different D1 players that are going to go different routes, and
True.
you're truly seeing what it's like and how it is when you're playing people who want to play basketball. Sometimes you
Mhm.
see people in high school who are just there because it's an extracurricular, or might not take it as seriously, or it's their second sport. But AAU, it's people who want to get a college scholarship and want to play professionally in the future. So I think it is beneficial.
For sure. And then also to follow up, also I should have asked this earlier again. I apologize. The injuries around college basketball this season, particularly on the women's side.
Hmm.
I how do you from your perspective? I understand there's sometimes you may play 3 games in 5 days, or just like how do you find time for yourself and recovery? Like what does your basketball like schedule look like?
Oh yeah, I mean, college is definitely different. Obviously we're getting older, but I'm still young, which is crazy, but my body now is a lot different than it was in AAU. If I was playing, in AAU, we used to have 3 games in one day. And now moving on to college, if we play 3 games in a week, my body is destroyed. So I think it's really important, and recovery is one of the biggest things that, you know, I never really took recovery seriously until I got to college, because I realized how important it was to keep my body safe and keep my body rested. I mean, Coach B has this motto: rest plus hard work equals success. Sorry, I forgot what it was for a second, but
It's all
it
good.
really is true, because if you overwork your body, you don't listen to your body, you will get hurt. And it's sad, because I think I'm not a doctor here, but women are more, you know, inclined to getting hurt, especially around their knees, just because the genetics of our bodies. So it's hard, and you truly have to take care of your body so you're healthy and you can remain healthy. But I think I'm trying to think of like my weekly schedule. You know, we might practice 5-6 days a week for about 2 hours, lift 3 times a week, have 1 to 2 off days. So I think getting recovery, going in cold tubs, stretching, you know, Normatec boots with compression, rolling out, are all these things that you can do to hopefully protect your body. But I think especially knees, you've seen so many people hurting their knees, tearing their ACLs this year, which is so sad. But it's one of those things where it's really uncontrollable, but you can do little things like strengthening your legs, doing, you know, different PT correctives, and just trying to stay on top of that stuff to prevent it from happening.
Now, when Faith is not playing basketball, what is Faith off the court?
Whew. I think for me, I'm the type of person, I love doing hair, I love doing makeup, I love getting dressed up, I love hanging out with friends. I'm the type of person, this is really funny, but I literally have FOMO if it's warm outside and I'm stuck inside. Like, I have FOMO from the weather. So for me, I'm like, I have to be outside at all times, either going on a walk or just, you know, I definitely a little adventurous.
I like that. Interesting. Okay. FOMO.
FOMO from the sun.
Okay. Okay. I like that's it. I like that. Okay. You know, and then for this season, you know, look, I wish you had a little bit more playing time on the floor. Don't tell Coach Freeze that. You know, just I think more from your role in terms of kind of more of a leadership, you know, role. Just from this season, what have your overall, like, has the season looked like so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting old, so I think sometimes when I can sit out, it's definitely pushed upon that I'm like, okay, rest your legs. So truly, like, having a we have better rotations this year. We have more bigs, which is good, because I'm 6 foot. I'm a very undersized forward. So having, you know, Emily, Allie, sorry, I forgot her name, Allie, Jakia, like those big girls, they're able to play those spots. So it is good that we have, you know, so many versatile people that can come in and play. But I think this season, obviously it hasn't been the season that we wanted to have. We've had a little too many losses that we really could have grasped onto. But I think we've said this the whole time, like, we're not going to play our best basketball until everyone is playing their best. So we're still trying to, you know, figure out, get different pieces together. There's so many different pieces that fit. So it really depends on the game that we're at, you know, the game that's in front of us, what's going to work best. I mean, there's some games I'm not going to be guarding, you know, a guard. So I'm going to be on the bench, and that's fine with me, as long as, you know, we're playing to the best of our abilities. And I think, you know, we got new people. We're just trying to figure it out and continue to find our identity. And I think Maryland has had this, you know, criteria, or this identity of get out, run, you know, hitting a lot of threes and playing defense, you know, or switching defense. And this year we're creating our own identity. And I think energy and effort is something that we've had to, you know, use more, because that's what we can control. So I think this year it's definitely controlling what we can control, and we're still figuring out every day. But I think we've been putting our heads down, and we're peaking at the right moment. We've put some good games together.
Absolutely.
We definitely gave Iowa a run for their money. It was a great game, great energy. We played really well.
My hearing is better, but it took like a couple of days.
It was loud in there, but even that game was like such an amazing experience, because for me, I'm like, yes, I didn't play much, but the energy and the effort that those 5 put on the floor the entire game was like insane. Like coming into the locker room, like obviously everyone's upset we lost, but I looked at the, the five, Jakia, Lav, Brene, Shy, Allie. I looked at them, or I forget who the other one was. I'm missing
Bree.
somebody. Bree. Thank you. I looked at them and I'm like, guys, I'm so proud of you. I said, I'm sorry I couldn't help you out more, but I'm proud of you guys for what you just did out there. So I think, it was a great game, and it definitely gave us hope going forward and moving in the right direction.
For sure. I mean, like for me, in my honest opinion, I think you guys have had a good season. There's a lot of things that you talked about earlier. There are some things that are out of your control. Riley getting hurt, Emma getting hurt. Like I can't control that. And then there's also too, like things happen that's outside, transfers and different things like that, graduation. There are a lot of things I think fans and sometimes even people within the media don't understand. Like it's easy to say like, well, this was not the same team for Elite Eight, but it's not like professional basketball or football. Like every season is different. Exactly. So I think you guys have been doing just fine. And just for the record, Faith, when we played Indiana, that tech that was given to you was BS. I'm serious. I'm saying it for the record. I got you.
That was my first technical in college ever. So
it was BS.
Whatever.
And you did not step out of bounds. I don't know what the official was looking at.
Oh my gosh. There was a picture taken of that play.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That was we're just not gonna get into that.
No, we're not. I'm just saying that tech was BS. I'm just
appreciate it.
And then Brianna Jones, now as a player development coach for you guys, what has she been for you like this year?
I think having someone who has gone through the program and is now playing at the highest level, one of the best basketball players in the W, is now on our coaching staff. I think it's just amazing the connections that Bree made, obviously, throughout college, that she's able to come back and coach at her alma mater. It's amazing, but being able to have her on the sidelines, she's been through this process. She understands, and it's a plus for us, but a negative for her that she's gone through injury, because her having that wisdom and that knowledge, she is able to share it on to the people who are still going through injuries. So just watching her come back, I mean, every single day, she's the first person in the gym 3 hours before practice working out. And then, being a coach on the sidelines, having her voice. Bree is quiet, but once you get her going, she'll talk to you. She'll give you little pieces of advice, and she'll be like, yeah, no, that was wrong. Don't do that. Do this. So I think having her in the background is definitely awesome. And she's Bree. She's the best.
And then, obviously, this Sunday is senior day. I'm not gonna lie, Faith. When I'm gonna be at the game, I'm gonna be crying. I'm serious, because it's 5 years, especially with you. Nay last year, Lavender 2022 came in, and then Jakia last year. But you've been here all 5 years, so you've seen the program go through some changes. When you look at senior day, what is that going to be like for you?
I mean, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to come here at Maryland. I'm thankful, and I'm proud of myself that I was able to push through the bad days and just ride the course, and just trust in the program, trust in Coach B, that in the end I'm still here. I mean, I'm very happy that I came to Maryland. I'm so excited, to celebrate senior night in front of all of our fans and have my family come, and with the girls that, I'm going out with. So I'm very happy.
And then, my last question for you is, when you look at just as, you're growing from when you started playing basketball until now, what would you say your why is?
I would say my why is my family. Growing up in a huge family, there was a lot of ups and there was a lot of downs. So I think just playing for them and having and knowing that they're supporting me and watching me and always going to be on my side gives me a lot of, confidence and encouragement to just keep going and be the best version of myself.
I like that. And then we're playing Penn State. Really quick. Just we're getting our revenge first and foremost. We're going to beat them Sunday. I'm confident in that. Just seriously, what are your keys to success against to getting the victory on senior day against Penn State?
Yeah, I mean, last time we played Penn State, obviously, was definitely not our game, not our day, and we are going to be looking out for revenge. I think we just have to play our basketball. I think a lot of times we are our own competition, and we kind of rush into a lot of things, creating turnovers and doing stuff. So I think if we just take a breath and take a pause, we are going to be okay. We just have to do what we got to do. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. I definitely agree with that. I think if you guys just focus on little things, rebounding, shot, getting each other involved in offense with shots, defense, we're gonna be fine. But also too, you guys are gonna be playing in front of your folks, and the energy Sunday is gonna be fantastic. So I'm looking forward to it, most definitely. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this episode. Faith, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to allow me to interview you. I can't wait to see you at Sunday at the game. And best of luck to you the rest of the season. I know we got the Big Ten tournament coming up, and then March Madness. I don't know where we're at right now. I know I saw this.
We got this.
Yeah, but I know we're going to make it into March Madness. So, ladies and gentlemen, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will leave your Twitter in the description. Please follow Faith on Twitter. You can also check her NIL marketplace deals as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This episode is over. Enjoy the rest of your day, ladies and gentlemen. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything.